What I'm working on today is my hoist. So did a fair bit of research on this, ended up going with the HAPP 60p hoist. It's the 2-post to 4-ton clear floor option. Goes about 3.7 metres high. For me, I've got plenty of room. Any hoist would have worked. It goes 3.5 metres wide, so it's just a little bit wider than the bay widths that I've got. Yes, I'm going hard up against the wall. Might seem odd, it'd make more sense to be in a more central position, but I am actually extending out on here with a longer term view, so at the moment it's going up against the wall. I'm still going to have about a metre between the wall and the vehicle to work on, so it's not going to be too cramped, but eventually it'll work out better. So anyway, we'll take a step back, did my research, looked at a number of options with the hoist. HAPP was the one I went with, mainly because, look, they're all very similar. Prices reasonably similar in these Chinese-made ones. But I spoke to Gavin, the Chief Technical Officer for HAPP. Good guy to speak to, answered questions I had. At the end of the phone call, I got off there and changed my mind from another one I was going to go with and went for HAPP. Purchase was easy. The warehouse I collected from is in Willawong here in Brisbane, which is just down the road from me. Drove up, had the paperwork over, they come out loaded on the car trailer. Here's the manual that you get with it, they email it to you after you make the purchase. So I've got the HAPP 60p, 32-page document there, quite detailed, with everything you need to install it. And what it does say there is, although it's giving you dimensions, don't drill any holes or anything based on those dimensions. Do a dry run, so stand the uprights, put the crossbar on, level the uprights, shim it if need be. Once it's in position, you're happy with it, then drill the holes. Alright, I've got both the uprights standing roughly in their intended position. It was pretty straightforward really, thanks to the forklift. If it wasn't for the forklift, it would have been a shit of a job. So I know some guys use extra hands or an engine hoist or something and get the job done, but for me, yeah, I don't know what I would have done without the forklift, certainly doing it on my own anyway. The way I did it, on top of each of the uprights, there's the 2 bolt holes which the cross member will go on. It's also these bolts here that went into the transport crate. I reused those bolts, and just a piece of chain I had, 2 bolts, a piece of chain in those 2 holes. That then became my attachment point for just a lifting strap on the tines of the forklift, and then just simply lift them into position. Once they're upright, you don't even have to get them really exactly into position. Once you're standing upright, they're surprisingly easy to move, even with my size, my big muscles. Yeah, just simply rock them from side to side, wiggle them around, and you can get them into their final position. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get them onto my marks that I've marked out on the ground, and then get the overhead beam with the cross member on in one to that one. Now working from the top of the hoist, I've got both the columns into place and aligned with my marks on the ground about as close as I can. It does say in the manual before lifting those columns up to get the cables and pipe work and everything into position and lubricate the pulley wheels. For me, it made more sense just to lift them up and then do it while it was in its final position. Of course, I've got the scissor lift here, which certainly makes life much easier. Not everyone's got that luxury, but it's helped me heaps making building the shed and also lifting things like this up into place. Not that it's that heavy, just makes it easier. So before this cross rail goes into place, something I've got to think about is that we've got a very or fairly narrow gap with the balance cables and the hydraulic hose and the limit switch cables got to go through. So before putting the nuts into place, you need to feed that through. Just be mindful, there's not a lot of room there and the cables may twist and you don't want to kink them. So you have one balance cable going all the way over to the other side and down the column. We'll fix it into position later on, and the other balance cable comes from the other side and down. The two hydraulic hoses join in the middle, simple fitting there, not too tight. And down this end we've got the limit switch, and I'll show you underneath what I did there. Just something there. With those pulley wheels, when I went to put the balance cable over it, I found there was not enough clearance between the pulley wheel and the top hat. So I went to the trouble of taking the pulley wheel off, or the top hat off, then the circlip, then the pulley wheel, and then I realised I was a dickhead and that there was actually a flat edge on one of the on the outer edge of the pulley. So there's no need to do that. You just rotate the pulley around, slide the cable over the top. Anyway, not the most stupidest thing I've done, but it probably cost me about 15 minutes doing that. Once that's over, it's then time to put the two bolts in either side into place. Not sure why they're an Allen key. Give me a bit more certainty if there's a proper bolt head. But it uses those same bolts holes that the transport crate was bolted to. If I use a normal Allen key, I've got these little doodads here. Gives me a bit more assurance I'm getting a bit more tension on there. There's no torque setting for them, so just doing them up firmly. I'll show you the limit switch. Okay, so here we've got the limit switch. There's actually two on this. You've got one on the carriage assembly to stop it from going too high, and then you've got one on the upper crossbar here, so when the roof of the car hits it, that's going to kill the motor as well. So first of all, you've got to put on these two brackets. Yep, there. And limit switch goes on, you just have to make a small adjustment to make sure the little wheel's in the right position. Little cannon plug up the top here, it feeds down. There's a little bit of excess length there, so I'm just going to put a cable tie on there to tidy that up and make sure it doesn't rub on the balance cable. Once that's in the position, you then actually fit the bump bar. It's got a rubber covering on it, and pivots down the other end, and down here's where the limit switch is. So when the roof comes up, flicks the switch, kills the motor. Very simple, but stops you from going too high and rooting the roof of your car or bending it all out of shape. Alright, so now that's all done, and while we're on this side, show it again. It's two bolts here. Now that I'm all done there, I'm going to go down and start drilling some holes and fixing it into place. Okay, it's now time to bolt these columns to the floor. Reading in the manual, that makes a big point about having a level floor. Seems pretty straightforward to most. It also says that some slabs up to 25mm out. I'd suggest if your slab's that bad and it's intended to be level, I'd be questioning the integrity of the overall slab, so I'd be digging out and putting in footings. But in this case, my slab is spot on. The only thing that's not is the fact that the base plates of the hoist are warped. You'd expect a little bit of that, no matter how thick the plate is, due to differential heating during the welding process. So there is a bit of a gap. Thankfully, in the kit, they give you a whole wedge of these shims, and that's exactly what's for. As you can see here, this outer edge. I've already put the spirit level on. It's pretty close. I'll need a little bit, so I'm going to need one. Where's that there? There. 1, 2. There. Won't get quite the third one, but by the time that clamps down, I think that'll end up being pretty close. So with the spirit level, we're obviously going to check both sides. It says to be within level and within 2mm up the top, preferably leaning outwards. As you can see, this one here, if you can see it, that's pretty close there. And on the other side, it's a little bit out there, so definitely have to shim it on that side. And checking the other edge, that's a little bit out there, so you're going to need to shim that up to level it. Overall, pretty close. Also says in the instruction to actually bolt down the opposite side to the motor column first. Then once that's done, measure everything up, then drill the other one, then put the cross beam in, To be honest, that didn't quite make sense to me, so hence the reason why I fixed the crossbeam in place, line up the base to my floor markings, and that's as accurate as it's going to get. Just going to drill them bolt, drill them bolt. Obviously you can't drill all at the same time, you'll just have to get them spot on. To drill the holes, I got myself a new toy here, Bunnings Special, Azito, 900 watt rotary hammer drill. I would have went the 1500 watt if they had it, but literally no Bunnings around had any of them, so I just went $979. Don't think I can go wrong. As I said, these cheap tools for only minimal jobs are more than okay, I think. We'll soon find that out. Got a new 20mm bit. It's imperative that you make sure that the bit is the right size for the anchors that you're using. In the kit, they give you these ones. They're a M20 or 20mm wedge type anchor. If you don't know the difference, it's just a Google between wedge and sleeve type anchors. If we put them side by side, I won't go through the difference. There's plenty of videos on YouTube to tell you all about that. I was questioning, the integrity of, say, the Chinese bolts, so I did go and buy some 20mm ram set anchors. These are the sleeve type. For some reason in Oz, or not that I've found too many, the wedge type doesn't seem as common. I would say the wedge is a better type of anchor though, and it's definitely thicker. It's a 20mm, but the diameter of the two in the actual threaded section is significantly different. So I may just stick with the ones that came within the kit, I think. Anyway, we'll start drilling these holes out. Drill the first one, and we'll see how it goes. So it's sort of hard to hold the drill and the camera at the same time, but we'll be out there. Went through pretty easy, so far happy with the cheap rotary hammer drill. Problem with drilling these holes that you want to keep it straight, of course. Don't want to wiggle around, you don't want the hole to be too big. It's imperative that you have the right size hole for these anchors for them to work at their best. Next thing is make sure that you get the hole deep enough. So you want it to be deep enough, but not too deep, and certainly not too shallow, because if it's too shallow and you start putting that anchor in, you won't get it out. So you can, a couple of ways. You can measure out how deep you want it, put a little mark on your drill bit, and that way you know how deep you've got to go down. If you want a bit more assurance, you use a little calibrated measuring stick, stick it in the hole, and then out. So ideally, I want to go just a little bit deeper than the bolt, and then go clean the hole out with the air compressor, but I don't want to go all the way to the bottom and out the slab. Not that it would on this thick one anyway, but if you had a thinner slab, you don't want to go all the way through and out, otherwise you're just going to have moisture issues. Okay, so a bit more fine tuning there with the shims. Got that first one in. I've loosened it on and off a couple of times, just rechecking with the level. It's going to change a little bit each time I put tension on there, but that's pretty damn close. Once it's all final, we'll then transfer over the torque wrench. 85 foot-pounds is what the manual says. So I'll work my way around, do the rest of these now, and then torque them to the final setting. Okay, and over on the left-hand side, got the 6 anchors in place. The upright is all level, happy there. You'll notice that it is close to the edge of the concrete. Specs call for no closer than 5 times the diameter of the bolt. So 20mm bolt times 5 is 100. I've got 150, so I've got a little bit extra there. Plus, I'm not worried anyway. I've got an extra big slab, thickening the edge beam. I'll put in double Rio. And as mentioned previously, I will be moving this wall out and adding onto the slab. When I do that, I'll join them by Rio and chemical fasting, so not at all concerned about the strength. So now it's on to installing the pump motor that's going on the left-hand side just here. So I'll put the camera down, get that in place, but otherwise we're getting pretty close. I'll solve the pump like me anyway. Just going to put in 2 to hold it and put the others in. Fucking spanners are pretty broad. Mate, walking back over the shed. Get another one. So, ring spanner it is. Okay, now the motor's fixed in place. Two items we've got to put on, obviously hydraulic hose going from the pump through to the rams or the actuators. And we've also got the kill switch card with the hook up. I was saying the booklet's universal fit this hose, so just fit it however it fits best. For me, that will fit just fine like that. And there was a comment from a chap, another chap on YouTube. I noticed he made a comment that some of his other fittings were loose. And I was just going to go in and check these as I go. He sprung a leak. Like I said, it was on the bottom of the ram. I can check that when I lift that up. Anyway, I'll check that one. Then we'll go around this side. Take this cover off, and I've already got an olive fitting on that side, ready for it. Oh, fuck me. Go looking for a screwdriver and I come back and it's already been wired up. Maybe Sparky must have come while I was gone. Oh, that's done. We can move on to floating around and putting some fluid in it. Behind. I'll tidy up that wiring a bit more at a later date at the moment. So we'll have to do. Next is fluid, so yeah, it stipulates there that putting some, gives you a name, a hydraulic grade 46. Thankfully we've got plenty of it. My excavator and the bobcat are both squirters, so they go through lots of bloody fluid, pissing out everywhere. So whenever it's on special, it's super cheap. I normally go buy these big drums of it. It's Gulf Western stuff. Yeah. Change my line rather than bloody put the funnel up there and end up bloody spilling everywhere anyway. I'll just put it in the same way that I put it in the Bobcat. Use the old jiggle siphon. Not the most conventional way of transferring fluid, but it does work. So it says 10, about 10 on the bucket. Close there. While I was doing that, just reading the label on the side here, it says oil changing is required after the first week of operation, and then once every 12 months. Now we've got the fluid in there, we can give it a test. There's the garlic. Down and have a cord on the latch. Yeah, so you find the bolts. With the nuts, I should say. So man, it's running good. Work with it. They say that they're plastic powder coat. So I'm rubbing my hand on this yellow here. The paint, plastic powder coat, is actually chipping off. Which I would not expect it to do. In the absence of knowing any better on how to set these cables up, we'll run with that at the moment. That's enough now to at least get a turn on the nut. Lifting up the carriage is one notch, certainly makes the job easier in connecting up those balance cables. Going to leave them like that so I'm not working right on the floor. Now time to put the arms on. Underneath there's a circlip that simply just comes out. There are each of those on each side. It says in the manual to lubricate these with some grease and then dry lubricant. And when putting these pins back in, they might need a bit of persuasion so they can be tight. Get the rubber knock on with it. These things are pretty bloody heavy. Just going to put some of this on. Did that too, and did the other side. Heavy. And it isn't mine, it goes easy. Turn that. Now put the circuits back on. Then let's onto the curtains. Oh, there's little holders on the side that we've got to put in yet for the little extension add-ons that they give you as freebies in the kit. these little doodads here that I've forgotten about, we've got to go on as well. Be able to see it. Here's 5mm Allen keys. So I'll put on these grab handles. I just noticed something here. So far I've been pretty happy with the Hoist right up until seeing this. So the art of welding is the process of joining two pieces of metal. As you can see from this weld, that weld hasn't even penetrated the arms. That's one of the short arms. I've checked all the others, so this is how it should look like. It's like that, a nice bead, and you can see which penetrated both pieces of the metal that it's joining. But this one is not. That's shit. So I'm going to raise that with HAPP actually, and get another arm. I don't like that at all. Okay, so now I'm not fucking happy. So this leak, as we can now see here, I've got rags everywhere. Probably got about 5 litres of fluid all over the floor now, so that wheat turned into something bigger. Check those fittings again. The fittings were tight. Had to get a mirror in there, not hard, not easy to see. That's where it was coming from. I made the assumption there was the seal around the banjo bolt, and I took it out, and of course once that happened, all the rest of the fluid went, so that's the entire hose up to the top, everything that's in the cylinder, all that fluid come out, and there's really no way to contain it. Tried my best, with a little bucket to try and catch some, of which I didn't really catch any at all. But this is the problem. So we've got that fitting I've now got pulled out to the front, sitting there, and this banjo bolt, either side of that banjo bolt, which then seals around the fitting there, is these little fellas, a little steel ringed rubber washer, and you might be able to see it. That seal is quite damaged. So I'd mentioned before about that other review. I saw where a guy had a leak down there. This is obviously the same thing. So I'm not happy. This floor was we get about to get sealed and painted as soon as I got this this hoist in. Now I've got fucking oil soaking into the concrete, so I'm going to quickly get this done, hit it with some degreaser and try and get rid of what bulk of oil's there. But in any case, it's pretty much rude. Once that happens, I've seen it before, you can just never get that factory floor covering to stick as well wherever there's oil soaked concrete. So anyway, damaged ones. Just out by pure luck, my mate down the road just actually went and bought a box of these to put onto his tractor. It's red in colour, but same diameter, same size. I'm going to put these on, and I'm confident that'll fix the problem. Okay, so job's finally done. Overall, not too bad. Just wanted to get stuck in and get it done at this point. I hate when things drag on for days. Still pretty pissed about that leaky seal, but put the new seal on, tightened it up, all good. Topped it up with fluid. That's working fine now. I quickly just mopped up the excess fluid, hit it with some degreaser. There's still residual there, so it's going to impact on my floor ceiling, but it is what it is. Something I didn't show on the video, One was tightening up the balance cables. Pretty simple process. The manual doesn't give you much guidance. The way I did it was I just lifted the hoist and lifted the carriages and just synchronised the click. So whichever one clicked first, I took as being the higher one or the tighter cable. I then tightened the looser cable. And after a few clicks, I got it, pretty damn close, and that'll do good enough for me. After I got the cables done, put the lock nuts on, then put these curtains on. The curtains just cover up the chain, the ram, and the balance cables. That was simple enough to do. Not going to stuff around. I've got to clean off my greasy handprints and all that there, just so it looks like a finished job. But essentially now it's ready to put a car on for the first time and give it a crack. Starting to run out of daylight outside now, so I'm just got to get on the forklift and unload a fuel cell out of my trailer. But I'll come back in, probably dark by then. We'll do it under lights and put the 86 up on the hoist for its maiden car lift. Now we get to do our first lift. Yes. Lower it back down onto the stop. It shows by doing it that way. That one was a little bit high. How awesome is this? I've been waiting for a hoist for friggin' years. This is great. Getting too old to crawl around my back and using jacks and everything on the cars. This makes it so much easier for access to oil changes, wheels, brakes, anything. This is great. I've got some other things I've ordered online which I'll review in other videos. I've got a pneumatic operated suck flow oil drain tank. I've got a transmission jack, and I've also got a steady support coming as well, which is probably not necessary, but it's just a bit of peace of mind. And from working on a bigger car or taking an engine out, I can put it down the rear end, just gives an extra point of contact on the car for stability. But there you have it. So the HAPP 60p 2-post 4-ton hoist. A couple of issues along the way. I'll do a follow-up vid on on the after sales support, see how we go with HAPP on getting those couple of items sorted. But otherwise, hopefully this video helps you if you're in the market for looking for a hoist, or if you're about to install one yourself. Hopefully I've given you a few tips there to make the job a bit easier. Don't make the same mistakes I did. Yeah, so if you like the video, hit the like button, otherwise subscribe. Might give you motivation to make some more of these videos for you. Anyway, bye for now. Cheers.